Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in my hands here, this is the TS2 self-rescue light from Thrunite. Now recently on a hiking, camping, and backpacking trip, I was able to get this TS2 self-rescue light out on the trails to give me a little bit of additional light while I was in my camp environment. Now they call this a self-rescue light. This is a pretty interesting little light. The first thing I'm going to say about this is, well, it's actually really nice to get something that's a little bit different, a little refreshing, not the norm. I mean, if you've been watching my channel at this point, I've done a few dozen light reviews. It kinda, and I'm not going to say gets old, but you know, you've seen a few things, and well, Thrunite definitely thinking outside the box on this one, which is just so refreshing. So what we're going to do, we're going to get this out on the trails. I'm going to kind of take you a little bit through some of the thought process on this. We're going to go through this in detail and see if it's something that's a fit for you. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Thrunite who did provide this for review. Now again, this TS2 self-rescue light. Now I've already used this, I've had this out of the box, kind of put it back in the packaging just so I could show you what this comes with. This self-rescue light, and I'm gonna use that in air quotes for a minute, is really cool. The first thing is, you know, this light really departs from what we've really come to see with most flashlights, most headlamps, most lanterns. It's just different. This is kind of a hybrid idea where you end up with a battery case, a lens, and then, well, the battery itself. This is based on a 21700 battery, which has 5000 milliamp hours. These batteries are very powerful. They have a good runtime, good output generally with their lights, and this is really the platform for this light system. Now, they call this a self-rescue survival light. I mean, self-rescue light? It's kind of funny, actually, when you look at the box, they call it a self-rescue light, but then when you look up close on the actual case, they call it a survival light. So self-rescue, survival, to me, it's kind of neither. Self-rescue to me is a very specific definition. If you've been watching my channel and watching mostly like my flashlights and headlamps that I use in the backpacking situation, well, self-rescue to me is you're in trouble, you need to get out of a situation, and you need to actually self-rescue. And for me, that typically means climbing out of the remote wilderness and climbing out of the mountains to self-rescue. Nobody's coming, it's too remote for people to get to you, and you literally have to self-rescue. This light, in my opinion, can't really do that. Survival light? It kind of maybe has some aspects of that. And this does have, I guess, some modes that allow you to draw attention to yourself, but that's assuming people are coming. So with that, where does this fit? Well, first thing we need to do is kind of work through the features here so that you get an understanding of exactly what this is. So we start with the battery. Again, this is a Thrunite, and they're calling it the Emergency Light Power Bank Rechargeable Battery, a 21700 5000 milliamp hour battery, USB Type-C rechargeable. So let's just start simple. Let's start there. We're going to grab the cable that this comes with in order to actually charge the battery. Now, the first thing you're going to see is this is quite different from most of the cables that you get with other flashlights. Again, refreshing. Again, thinking outside the box. You'll notice this has a USB Type-C and standard USB adapter going to the feed, which is going to be a micro USB, an Apple connector, and then another USB Type-C, which is really cool. And so, well, that's the first thing. Let's just say you have a power bank. The really cool thing is, well, you can use your standard USB adapter, plug it in, And now we can use this to charge this battery. So no problem there. Plugging that in, you'll see this does have some green lights that illuminate, and this thing is now charging. Or, well, let's go the opposite direction, which is if we want to use this to actually charge another device. So popping this off, plugging in here the USB Type-C, and well, for this example, I'm going to simply charge my phone. So plugging in my USB Type-C, well, you can see now charging my phone. Definitely cool. It says 60 minutes until full, so I'm at 60% battery and climbing. So using this, not just to charge the light, but the cable now using the actual battery to charge my phone. Definitely cool. But now going a little bit further with the cable that this comes with, this actually works out extremely well for me where, you know, I really need to charge multiple things while I'm out on the trails. I always have a power bank with me, so theoretically, I can plug this in. I need to charge my phone so that I can leverage the USB Type-C connector. I also need to charge my camera, which happens to be micro USB. So I can charge both devices with one cable and plugged into the power bank, which is absolutely awesome. So this working out extremely well right off the get-go, simply from the standpoint that it comes with a cool cable. But yeah, so whoop-de-doo, it comes with a cool cable. Well, let's move on to the flashlight. Now, keeping in mind, again, this is a 21700 battery. Now, I happen to have a flashlight in my pocket that also leverages a 21700 battery. So as you look here, this is a pretty large form factor. I mean, a little bit bigger than most people would actually like for EDC. For me, I don't mind it too much, not a big deal, but you can notice, I mean, this is significantly larger than the battery itself. But what Thrunite has managed to do is they've come up with this interesting little survival light case, which at this point, this literally just pops right in there, and you can see still maintains a pretty small form factor. Now, before I get too far, you can see the battery does not come out terribly easy. That's because the back side of this case is magnetized. So you can see here, nicely magnetized. And in fact, if I grab something metal, there you go. So that's the first thing that's really cool. The idea being magnetized, that's fantastic. So this automatically, in my mind, makes it a little more flexible, little more leverageable for different types of tasks, mechanic work, EDC, emergency light, say the power goes out, a number of different things you could use this for. So what they have done is created this really cool little dome light. It leverages a USB Type-C connector and plugs literally right into the battery. Now this itself is the actual flashlight. If you press the button here, you can see the light coming on. This is really what you're leveraging when you pop it inside the case. And this here giving you sort of a little bit of a, and it's, again, not a survival light, not a self-rescue light, but a nice just little sort of camp light, sort of like a lantern. This isn't quite enough light to get around your surroundings. You could maybe navigate a little bit around camp, but you're not going to climb out of the mountains with this. But where this light really shines is when you're hanging around camp, when you need a little bit of extra light, when you just need a little bit of extra illumination. So maybe you're hanging around camp, maybe you're hanging around the fire, preparing some food, it's getting dark, and even if you have a campfire, quite honestly, it is nice sometimes to have a little additional light. You don't always want to have your headlamp just beaming around. You don't want to be blasting other people in the face. So having a nice, soft little dome light like this working out very well. Or maybe it's the end of the night and you're climbing into your tent or into your sleep system. For me, I happen to like this for the hammock situation. I do really enjoy hammock camping, so having this at my side, up above me, hanging really off of a ridge line or something like that, this has worked out extremely well. And the way I was able to do that, well, a couple of things. First off, you could add a lanyard, you could add some little rings to this, Or what's really nice, this comes with a magnetized clip. Now this is extremely effective. It's nice and strong. I don't know if I would trust this truly to simply hang off a pack, but for its intended purpose, to use this on a ridge line or something like a piece of string, that's gonna work out just fine. So a fantastic little clip. This is excellent, and I love this concept. So again, building this out just a little bit to add additional functionality. Now this does have a high, medium, low, and SOS mode. So single press here and turning on the light. You see it's a little bit delayed, but as I long press here, well, here we go. Low, medium, high, low, medium, high. Now the low mode, this is 5 lumens. Again, long press to medium. The medium mode is 40 lumens and long pressing to the high mode, which is 118 lumens. Now you can double press, and that's going to go into your SOS mode. So again, giving you the ability to signal people if you need to. But again, I wouldn't necessarily call this like a survival light or a self-rescue light, but definitely good functionality and a decent amount of light. And so now in the studio environment, just demonstrating this again, a single press. Well, here is that single press into the low mode. So you can see here, a decent amount of light, more than enough to read. That's your 5 lumen output. Now overall, you're gonna get 180 hours of runtime, which is substantial. So if you needed this just for enough general illumination to see around and kind of illuminate your sleep system, your shelter system, the general area where you're sitting, you need to read a map, no problem, 180 hours of runtime. Now again, a long press. This is going to be your 40 lumen output. So this here, enough to sort of navigate around with ease. I mean, I could make it down a trail. I could really illuminate sort of some of my general hazards. Now, it doesn't have an incredible throw because of the dome. It's really more of a floodlight than it is a spot. It's going to kind of evenly illuminate out in front of you and give you good general capability, but I would not say it's enough light for heavy-duty navigation. This is going to last for 30 hours, which is nice. And to me, that's at least enough that it's throwing a good amount of light, kind of illuminates a broad area, and gives you a little more definition when you need it. Now again, long pressing, this is going to be the high mode. This is 118 lumens and 11 hours of runtime, which at that point is pretty decent amount of light. Now again, I can illuminate a good amount in front of me, but it's not going to be a throw. So I can't see detailed hazards far in front of me. I'm going to struggle to see through the trees at any given distance. It's just enough to not trip over rocks, trip over roots, get through my general path and area, but I don't think this is enough to really self-rescue. Now this does have 11 hours of runtime, and that's a critical number to me. If you've heard me talking about self-rescue in the past, well, you need at least 8 hours of runtime, because generally for me, that's the total length of time where I have literally like pure darkness, and when I really need a light for my navigation the entire time. So for a survival light or self-rescue light, at least the runtimes are there. But as you can see, standing the light up in the background, you can also tail stand the light, which is nice. So if I was working in this area and I needed some light just to illuminate, not too bad. But again, it's 118 lumens, which is nice. It's just not quite enough for all the detail that you need. I would be able to probably read. In fact, I have the Thrunite sort of instruction manual here, and I can pretty much see. So again, this is 118 lumens, 11 hours runtime. Reading through here, battery parameters, it integrates recharge and discharge functions, which is appropriate for Type-C micro USB and lighting ports. So yes, I can read. It's just not the brightest. And again, would I trust this to self-rescue? I'm not certain. But the most interesting and promising thing about this, and I'm actually pretty excited for what this means, and think about it. I mean, right now, this dome is just a little on the warm side, so the LED combination, and so as I turn this on, you're gonna see it's a little bit warm. But let's say you like a cooler light. there is nothing, in my opinion, stopping Thrunite from at this point just literally offering the dome or another type of light for that matter. So think about it. Right now, we have a little bit of a warm light. They could offer this in a cool light. Let's just say you don't want the dome, but you want more of a spot. Well, at that point, these little adapters could certainly be sold individually or as a kit. So I don't know if Thrunite's gonna go there with this, but if they're not thinking about it, I urge them to just make little light kits that go on this. And at that point, you have all kinds of things you can do. And not for nothing, but where you actually end up with these little holes, you could make different adapters that kind of click into place and give you different functionality. So whether or not this is all they've intended on doing, again, I don't know, but I would love to see different heads that go on this. You could have 90-degree angles, you could have swivels, you could have literally a high throw beam. You could actually make it so this is even longer and have a really substantial searchlight. So not only could you get away with having your nice little lantern, but a searchlight to go with it. And then, well, where are we going with this? It becomes an actual self-rescue survival light. And so all in all, this to me is less about the actual TS2 as it comes today, but more about what this means in terms of a concept. Again, thinking outside the box, a fresh look, a fresh feel, something different from all the other flashlights that I have. And as I go through my drawer and I look at flashlight after flashlight after flashlight, well, how many more of the same types of flashlights can we look at? But now, turning the corner, thinking outside the box, well, that's what Thrunite did with the TS2, and that's what this means to me. And so again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Thrunite for providing this for review. You've heard me say it a few times. I'm more than impressed at the idea that they have thought completely outside the box. I hope they're paying attention. I hope they're thinking about different heads and lenses for this. That would make this so fantastic. Different adapters, ways to snap this into different parts of kit. Headbands, you name it, that's what I would do, but that's for the people at Thrunite to figure out. And if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the firearms and tactical side of things. I have started a second channel to kind of run with some other things that are a little bit different, yet at the same time, all sorts of great content. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.